evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of race number 3 of Season 59 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series, back here at the high banks of Talladega Super Speedway. 2 races down, 2 champions have gone to victory lane. Chuck McClure winning the season opener, Grant Wesley, the defending champion, going to victory lane last week at BSR. Will the trend continue, perhaps, of former champions finding victory lane and go 3 for 3? Today we'll have to wait and see, or maybe we'll have an underdog jump up there into a playoff position. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Michael Norman. And Michael, we're nearing a third of the way through this regular season. After today, only 6 regular season races left for drivers to advance their way into the playoffs, and 2 races under our belt, so drivers at this point in time really have a good idea of what they need to do to position themselves either to win their way into the playoffs or get in via top 12.
Absolutely, and honestly, it's no stranger. It's the 2 racetracks the 2 racetracks that these drivers go to. It's no different whether you start in the back or you start up front. It's all about check position, where you put yourself towards the end of the race, and that magical what's the word I'm looking for? Point of no return lap.
Yeah.
So you want to position yourself to be just in the right spot at the right time.
Fields getting ready to grid up here. Now, in the first 2 races, we've seen the caution quite a bit. Full field again tonight, 40 cars. Got our trucks in this case are actually going to be taking the green flag back-to-back weeks. Crux. That doesn't work as well. But they'll be taking the green flag back-to-back weeks that we've had a full field. Didn't have to send anybody home this week, so that was good. But it kind of seems like the more trucks we put on the racetrack, the more likely we get those cautions. We haven't really seen green flag pit stops come into play in these first 2 races.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big challenge, too, because we saw just how, even during practice here, drivers practicing, even myself practicing just for the fun of it, because I could go out there. It's not as easy as it looks.
I just want you to know, I didn't laugh at you. I laughed with you when you spun onto pit road.
Oh, I was laughing at myself, too, so it's okay.
But Jeremy Jeffries capturing the pole position. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me double check. I believe, yeah, that's back-to-back random poles that were given to him here.
I said it was rigged. Number 1 starting number 1.
There you go. Right there you go. Getting that car number. It's almost kind of like, what was it? Is it Formula 1 or is it IndyCar, where the champion has the option of having the 1? I think it's IndyCar.
It used to be Formula 1.
So it's always kind of like that, except for the fact that Jeremy Jeffries is not a former champion of the Tally Challenge Series. Maybe this season. We'll have to wait and find out. He's got the front row, though. He's alongside of Billy Elliser, Jason Scheck, and Mike Rogers. They're going to make up row 2. Row 3 finds Josh Metallic and Doug Hewlick, who was the fastest in happy hour. Donnie Garrett, Brian Ronson, they're in row 4, and Mark Paglia is going to be in row number 5 alongside of Jerm Lewis. Like Grant Wesley's got the connection gremlins again this week under pacing. He's on the inside of row number 6 alongside of Nate Balser. Row 7 finds Bob Seminara and Terry Bombard. Row 8, Joe DeSpirito and Robbie Nisus. In row 9, it's Cy Jones and Ken Roberts. And completing the top 20 will be Doug Woolley and Milt Surratt. Bobby Farrell rolls off the grid in 21st. Ron Hagelin in 22nd. Row 12 will be Richard Martin and Doug Cady. Row 13, Bob Dixon and Jessica Shelton. Row 14 finds Greg Palmer and Tim Knopfsker. Row 15, Wiley Coate and Dave Melson. That completes your top 30. Tom Dixon rolls off 31st. Kelly Causey 32nd. 33rd place is where we find Rodney Sullins. He shares row number 17 with Chuck McClure. Jeff Crivello, he's going to roll off the grid from 37th place. 38th, Bernie Mobbs. 37th rather, Bernie Mobbs. 38th, Brian Schilling. 39th will be Chris Emery, and Craig Hagley will have to try and make his way to the front from the rear of the field. He'll roll off from the 40th position. 66 laps of racing here in race number 3 at Talladega, and Jeremy Jeffries up through the gears gets us underway.
I was also just informed, as these drivers get up to speed, bracket series starts in 2 weeks, and it's only going to be 32 drivers.
That's right. Top 32 in the point standings get seated in that bracket challenge. Always a lot of fun to follow along with that, as well as the drivers trying to get themselves into the playoffs. Always brings about a different mentality for these drivers as well, because it's really funny. Down the home stretch, we asked them, are you concentrated more on the playoffs or on the bracket challenge? And a lot of them say, I'm more focused on that 1v1 each week in the bracket challenge. So very interesting how the drivers kind of split the mentality of what they're focused on when that green flag drops.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's, and it takes a lot of concentration usually around these racetracks. So if anything, I'd say put them both behind you. Just focus on driving. Whatever happens, happens.
Jeremy Jeffrey is going to lead the first lap. Inside line really got moving there on that first lap. Metallic cleared into second. Donnie Garrett into third. Mark Paglia trying to clear the 26 of Billy Elliser for fourth. Elliser has dropped back there to Doug Kulik and Jerm Lewis. They're trying to get something formulated in that second lane. Let's see if they can make any headway. The 88 of Grant Wesley still blinking. Like it's settled out now in front of the 712 of Bob Seminara. Now Grant's going to jump up to the middle here.
I was going to say he may have to move to the back for that. Just wait for see if it settles down, but it might have already. Yeah, these drivers migrating to the middle line there, and that's the preferred line.
And let's remember, I mentioned this is the second week that Grant Wesley had those blinking moments on pacing. Well, he had it last week, and what happened? He went on to win the race. So maybe it's a good thing that he's having the connection problems here in the first couple of laps. We'll see if lightning strikes twice.
Yeah, for real.
A truck back there that's already losing the draft. Tom Dixon in the 45. Ryan Ronson in the 21, the Mark Martin Folgers throwback. He's trying to stay in touch with this lead group. I think he's still in the draft for the moment, but we've talked about this before. If you're that last truck in line, it's very difficult if you don't have someone behind you pushing to be able to continue to get the suck up on that next car in front of you and maintain with the lead pack. So tough break there for Tom Dixon. If this thing continues to trend green, we've seen that a big barreling pack can reel in one truck by itself within 7 to 10 laps.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he can do here as Jeremy Jeffries continues to lead. Not really any battling happening up at the front, but it's 3 wide in the mid-pack.
Mentioned about the fact that top 12 in point standings, regardless of if they have a win or not, they advance into the playoffs. Points leader coming into this race is Brian Schilling by only 1 point. 1 point he's got over Kelly Causey. Grant Wesley, after his victory last week, jumped up to third. He's 5 points back. Chuck McClure, our winner from 2 weeks ago, is 7 points back in fourth. And Josh Metallic's only 9 points back in fifth. And we talked about this last week as we had almost some contact there between Joe DeSpirito and Nate Balser. But another full 40-car field, that means that a lot of points are left on the table to be gained or lost depending on what your finishing result is after tonight.
Absolutely, and we can see the middle lane kind of dying a little bit. We've got a high lane and a low lane coming, and you see the 88 still kind of blinking there. That could also hurt that momentum.
Yeah, Billy Elliser had to back off a little bit there, it looked like, to make sure he didn't warp wreck into the 88. Trucks that are stuck in that middle line that is going backwards, Doug Kulik and Nate Balser. More often than not, typical super speedway race, and you get put in that middle line, you're in the proverbial sucker hole and you're not going to move forward. We've seen how the middle line is usually the dominant line though here in RTG, but we're seeing the other side of it, the other aspect. If you don't have somebody driving you, and we got a caution.
Big wreck down the back straightaway.
Yellow flag is out for the first time today. Frozen field. Jeremy Jeffries the leader.
Bernie Mobbs involved.
Oh no! Bobby Farrell just turned down the track right in front of Richard Martin. There's Mobbs, there's Hewlett.
Doug Cady, Chris Emery involved, Mike Rogers.
Oh, the Cadillac Escalade of Doug Cady.
Ron Hagelin involved.
Back around probably the latter third of the field. We saw a couple of drivers darting down to the apron to avoid on the bottom half of our camera shot there. Get a more in-depth look here as we look back at a replay. Lap 6, first caution of the evening, goes up on the board. believe the highest running of the drivers involved was the 23 of Doug Hewlick, who was trapped in the middle line.
Oh, I see what happened. The 23 just tried to come down to the bottom, and Doug tried to come down in front of the 92, and he wasn't clear. Yeah, the 92
tried to fill it.
The 92 has such a run off the corner, and you know how the suck up works a little in these trucks, and he was just there before the 23 could be there and even have time to react.
Oof, that U.S. Air Force F Series of Bobby Farrell took flight. Back end of the truck coming up. Oh, and then you see right there, turns down right in front of Richard Martin. More damage on both the 92 and the 43 who were involved in that wreck.
Hopefully just cosmetic for some of these drivers.
Again, moderate damage, so we have to kind of wait and see on whether a truck is going to be up to speed or not. Here's another look at it. And focus on the 23, the 92, and the 43 as to the front end hits that they take into the outside wall. Wow, that was quite a shot right there coming out of turn 2. Couple of drivers sneaking through there. Brian Ronson, Jeff Crivello, as well as Wiley Coate. Taking on board here. See if we can ride on board the 007 Napa Cadillac of Doug Cady.
Grant Wesley stayed out while you're looking at this replay. It's going to be Grant and Jessica Shelton, the top 2 right now.
Grant Wesley, we talked to him last week about with having that win, where was his focus? Was it on trying to find victory lane again, or was it on racking up those playoff points? I might be looking to get a little bit of a cushion there and get to the points lead with a lap-led bonus point, perhaps.
Grant's still blinking, by the way.
There's a look at what brings out this caution for the first time here tonight at Talladega. Going back green somewhere around lap 10, I would say. Grant Wesley, the leader. Jessica Shelton in second. Robbie Nisus scored in third. Jason Scheck, Brian Ronson, the top 5. Like Cy Jones, Doug Hewlick, and Tom Dixon also stayed out. Hewlick, I believe, would be staying out the second lap and pitting the next time by, claiming responsibility for the caution. That's the policy here. The driver responsible pits the second time round. Then Jeremy Jeffries, who was the first one on and off of pit road right now, would be slated to restart in 8th. But looks like he'll restart much higher because it's like everybody that stayed out, well, nope, with the exception of Robbie Nisus, most everybody, though, comes to pit road here under the second lap of pacing. So Robbie will try and get himself a lap led here. I don't know if the lights will go out on the pace truck this time or not. If they do, Robbie Nisus will be the one to lead us back to green with Jeremy Jeffries in second, Josh Metallic, Donnie Garrett, Joe DeSpirito. That'll be the new top 5. Let's see if the lights go out, and
nope,
they do not. One more lap here.
Yep, not yet. They stay on. Robbie Nisus is pulling up right next to the pace truck.
Now it's an early caution, but it'll give us an opportunity to step aside and get a word from our sponsor, Ultimate Garage Floors. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and you won't miss a thing as we're going to go FRN side by side. The following presentation of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on the Flatout Racing Network is brought to you by Ultimate Garage Floors. Ultimate Garage Floors is very active in the garage remodeling community, staying current with the latest technologies and custom configurations so that we can bring you the highest quality installations. As a Northern Virginia Exposy flooring installer, we focus on garages and commercial flooring to perfect our craft and bring you high results. In a space that gets as much wear and tear as your garage, you want to be able to trust that the cabinets and flooring we install are ready to withstand against high traffic and regular use. That is why we include a lifetime warranty with our services so that you know we stand behind the quality of our work. To get started with a free consultation, call us at 540-931-9006 or visit us on the web at ultimategaragefloorsva.net. That's ultimategaragefloorsva.net. Lights should go out atop the pace car this time by. You saw Robbie Nisus in our side-by-side bring the number 54 Napa Navy machine down pit road.
Napa Navy.
Napa Navy. Navy know-how. He gives up the race lead back to Jeremy Jeffries, the pole sitter. He'll be alongside of Josh Metallic, Donnie Garrett, and Joe DeSpirito. They'll be in row number 2 with Mark Paglia and Bobson Minera in row 3. Ken Roberts, Billy Elliser, Doug Woolley, Tim Knopfsker going to complete the top 10. Nobody out of the race after our first caution of the day.
That's always a good thing.
It is a good thing, but a little bit of an extended stay for a few drivers. Bobby Farrell, Richard Martin, and Doug Hewlick. So hopefully the damage isn't too bad. Not going to take them out of this race this early in the going, because mentioned it earlier before that caution came out. You have a bad day here today. Only 2 races have been run. The points are still very, very close. And you see a driver with a finish outside of the top 30, top 35 today drop as many as 10, 11, 12 spots in the standings.
Yep. And also just got word that Grant is still having these blinking issues and is going to be at the back. Not sure how long he'll stay there, but he is back there right now.
We talk about the relief a driver has when they're able to get a win early on in the season. All they then have to worry about is remaining inside the top 20 in the point standings. With Grant having the connection problems tonight, just how much more important was that victory for him last week at BSR?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pace truck's going to make the left-hand turn to pit road. They'll turn the field back over to Jeremy Jeffries, who has led 6 of the 9 laps completed this time by. Interesting to see how organized these drivers get. We saw them 3 wide around the midway portion of the field and kind of straggled in different lines at the front of the field before that caution flew. See if we end up seeing a little bit more of the same here as Jeffries gets us back underway. Got a good jump, but there's quite a distance back to Donnie Garrett. Watch that top line, pretty close between Josh Metallic and Joe DeSpirito. They might have a pretty big run here off of 2, unless Jeffries moves up to the middle line.
And they see the 77 is going to go up, and so will Jeffries.
Mark Paglia left down on that inside line, along with Ken Roberts. Greg Palmer down there. Doug Woolley down there. See if they can make something happen on that inside line. It's side by side for the 4th position between the 24 and the 28. But that outside line, that middle line, prevailing through the tri-oval. DeSpirito's now clear for 4th. Seminara now looking to move up into 5th, and he will clear for the spot. Saw a truck that was quite a ways back there. Couldn't tell if that was maybe Tom Dixon again or one of the drivers that were involved in the wreck. It is Tom Dixon in the 45. Bobby Farrell, though, looks like he may be in danger of losing the pack as well. Saw quite a bit of distance growing between him and the next car in line in front of him, which I believe was Brian Ronson, down the back straightaway. We went back green on lap 10. Those keeping score at home, that means that the next potential round of green flag pit stops would be somewhere in the realm of the completion of lap 29 to 31. I was told before I came on the air not to tempt fate and talk about green flag pit stops, but there it
Yes,
is.
don't you dare. Stop it.
Tim Nofsker getting a nice run there on Billy Elliser. Got a big push from Jerm Lewis, who now jumps up to the outside line. Not sure Jerm's going to have any friends. Now Doug Woolley jumps up there with him. Not able to make it happen, though. Got to the right rear quarter panel of Tim Nofsker, but has to tuck back in line. Jerm's going to try it again. This time, he's not going to have anybody go up there with him. And Jerm Lewis in the 616 might be going towards the back. Doug Woolley stays in line. Ken Roberts stays in line. Jerm Lewis on an island by himself on that third lane. Just saw a blink out of the 712 of Bob Seminara up there in the 5th position. We'll keep an eye on that. Grant Wesley, you mentioned he dropped to the back of the pack. Worked his way back up to 28th at this point in time. I saw him up in the 3rd lane. Now he's moved back down to the 2nd lane behind Cy Jones, the Sunoco Chevy Silverado. Jerm Lewis has found a drafting partner up in the 3rd lane. That is Terry Bombard, but they're going to need a lot more to jump up there to make something happen. Chuck McClure taking a peek there a little bit further up with Milt Surratt.
I'll tell you, too, Bobby Farrell and Tom Dixon really lost the pack there. They're running roughly about 10 miles an hour slower than the rest of this pack here, and they're more than almost half a track behind them. I'm not sure. I think it was then obviously because of the accident, but I don't know if Tom Dixon was involved in the accident.
I do not believe he was, so might have just been slow there on that restart potentially. It's back-to-back starts, the start and the restart, that the 45 has very quickly lost the draft.
Boy, these guys are really all over the place back here in about the middle of the pack.
Got McClure slicing and dicing. Kelly Causey is outside. I think that was a misidentification on my part, I believe. Oh, no, it wasn't. Nope, I was right. Thought for a moment that I ended up calling Kelly Causey Milt Surratt for a moment, but the 80 is just a couple trucks ahead of the 00. There he is. Last time by scored in 9th. I believe he just picked up the 8th spot, getting around Tim Nofsker. Nofsker, Chuck McClure, Mark Paglia on the inside line. The fact that we're going to next week, we alternate between Talladega and Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Well, the RTR Super Speedway Series drivers were at BSR this past Tuesday night. Mark Paglia was the winner of that race, so keep an eye on that 28. Might be trying to see if he can sweep the Super Speedways here this week.
Trying to keep an eye on the rest of this pack here. You got a small inside lane trying to form, but it's not going anywhere.
Brian Schilling has now jumped down to that inside line. Kelly Causey also moving down there. So 5 trucks on the inside.
Oh, well, that's a bit of an issue here. Let's see. I hope that our stream is still up. All right, well, I see that he might have just fallen out of TeamSpeak here. We're continuing to watch this battle here. Yeah, our stream is still up here, and we're continuing to watch this battle. Jeremy Jeffries leading this race right now. Going down, coming to the line here, you got Jeremy Jeffries, Donnie Garrett, Josh Metallic. Close on lap 19 of 66. I'm sure Seth's going to continue to, the stream's going to be continued to focus on that 00. I'm gonna see if I can't try to find out what happened. Well, the 24 car is going down. I don't know what just happened to the 24. It's gonna be spinning, I think, down on the inside grass there. I have no idea what happened. Joe DeSpirito with an issue. Oh,
Right,
welcome,
I believe I
welcome
am
back,
back.
Seth. You are back, and the stream is still going. Stream is still up.
It is still going. I'm gonna try and see if I can get everything back to the way it was here. Apologies for that. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Everything is still fine. It's just you're focused on the 00, but everything is still fine.
Everything just froze for a moment there. Looks like everything's still here,
now the stream. Oh wait, it's because
now it is frozen.
Yeah, now
okay.
it's frozen. Yeah.
All right, just bear with us, folks. We're gonna try and get this.
Also, just want to point out for those that haven't seen it or pointed out, the 24 of Joe DeSpirito's engine had expired. Apparently, something definitely happened. A header problem with the 24 of Joe DeSpirito, so he is already out of this race, and it surprisingly did not bring out a caution.
We're gonna try and see if we can. We're gonna go into just a quick race break here. Try and get everything loaded back up. Boy, that's huge for Joe DeSpirito. I mean, former champion. Where was he in the point standings coming to this race? Let's see if we can bring that up as I'm trying to get everything loaded back up. DeSpirito was 30th in points. Holy cow.
Jeremy
Boy,
Jeffries.
This is not the way I think he expected his first 3 races were going to go.
Not at all. Jeremy Jeffries continues to lead here as they head down the back straightaway. They have caught the lap. They've caught the lap truck of Bobby Farrow. We have a spin in the back. Has not brought out the caution yet. The 22 of Greg Palmer spun, almost flipped over, did a 360 and has kept going. No caution.
We're going to take a couple more minutes here of downtime just to make sure that the ticker actually comes back here.
I would say if you want to throw it to commercial till we get it set, you can.
Yeah, that's what we're actually going to do. Just bear with us, folks. We're going to have everything up and running here in the next minute and a half. We're going to quickly just send you to a quick commercial break here with Ultimate Garage Floors, and we'll be right back here to the action at Talladega. If anything happens, we'll let you know when we return. The following presentation of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on the Flatout Racing Network is brought to you by Ultimate Garage Floors. Ultimate Garage Floors is very active in the garage remodeling community, staying current with the latest technologies and custom configurations so that we can bring you the highest quality installations. As a Northern Virginia Exposy flooring installer, we focus on garages and commercial flooring to perfect our craft and bring you high results. In a space that gets as much wear and tear as your garage, you want to be able to trust that the cabinets and flooring we install are ready to withstand against high traffic and regular use. That is why we include a lifetime warranty with our services so that you know we stand behind the quality of our work. To get started with a free consultation, call us at 540-931-9006 or visit us on the web at ultimategaragefloorsva.net. That's ultimategaragefloorsva.net. Caution out, second time today. You heard before Michaels allude to that there was an incident on the back straightaway that didn't bring out the yellow, but a full course yellow here. with an incident, and unfortunately we don't have the footage, so Michael, please let us know what exactly happened, who all was involved.
Well, it was the 7 of Doug Caddy. He was going down. It was a bit of a, I want to say, there was a small group of them. Trying to find it here, rewind to it. It was a small group of them. Yeah, it was coming out of turn 2. He was from the high side trying to get down to 65 or 56, tried to make it 3 wide. 7 went to put like a small block on him or something, and the 56 just got tight out of 2, and they hooked him, and it collected both him, Grant Wesley, and a couple others.
Second caution of the day. Woo, big battle there off of pit road. Donnie Garrett gonna win out over Seminara, Josh Metallic, and the pole sitter Jeremy Jeffries. It's like Doug's Woolly's gonna come off of pit road in 5th. Looks like during the course of that run, Bobby Farrell went a lap down. He should be the recipient of the free pass, which would put the 39 remaining drivers all back on the lead lap. And
Grant Wesley might actually again be glad that he got that win last week, because he took some pretty heavy hits in that wreck.
Tabs on those drivers involved. Looks like the 007, the 45, the 21, 143, 56, 02, 31, and current race leader in the 26, Billy Elliser, stayed out here under the second lap of pacing. So I've asked you a couple of times in the last couple of weeks about driver mentality. Last week, I believe I asked you, already have one race under your belt. Do you kind of still head into the race in a must-win mentality, or do you then start focusing on points? Let's talk about Joe DeSpirito, like 30th in points coming into this race after the first 2 weeks, and now full field, going to finish in the 40th position with a mechanical failure. Nothing of his own doing, just one of the kind of random Enter 2003 Super Speedway blow-ups, but the deep hole he's going to have to dig himself out of, at least for the foreseeable future, the next couple of weeks, is the 24 thinking must win.
More than likely, yes. When the first couple of races you have are not that great points wise, immediately your mind starts to focus and you get a little bit more desperate for that win. So I think we're going to see Joe DeSpirito start focusing on the win a lot more looking forward.
See if we maybe have the opportunity. Let's see if maybe we can get a word with him and kind of see where he's at as far as his focus for these upcoming races. Let's see if we can dial up Joe DeSpirito. Joe, Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hey guys, I got you.
Oh man, I mean, you sound in awfully good spirits for what happened to you there. Mechanical problem put you back behind the wall. It's such a tough start to the season for you. I mean, still got to be glad that there's 6 more races to be able to either win your way into the playoffs or get up there inside of the top 12. But Michael and I were just bandying around, what you're looking at for the next coming races if you're kind of maybe starting to enter into the must-win mentality. Is that the case?
I'm just gonna chug along, man. Just try to get as many top 5 finishes as possible. Maybe sneak in there. If I get a win, that'd be great too. Maybe we'll see what happens at the end. But just gotta try to be consistent. We've got one more race this year in the regular season compared to the last 2 seasons, so I'm hoping that helps me out. So I don't know. We'll see, man. It's weird. It's a slow start.
I'd like to know how you're able to control that car once the engine did blow up. I mean, how were you, the quick thinking to quickly pull out of line and be able to save it and not spin up onto the racetrack or into other cars?
Thanks. Yeah, I don't have smoke on, so I just kind of saw the speed drop drastically, and I was like, oh, this must be it. So I just pulled off, and it was good timing because Bob Seminara wasn't going to bump me at that very moment. He was kind of off my bumper, so it all worked out. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. It just worked out. I'm glad nobody wrecked.
We've seen so many different scenarios season after season, kind of a new thing that you guys have to adapt to, the random qualifying, the different system of the playoffs. Here in these first 3 races, we've had full fields. We've had to turn away some drivers last week. I mean, with having so many points on the table, how do you have to adjust a strategy in that regard?
Dude, like I said, I just gotta tug along and just try to get top 5s and top 10s, man. I was kind of excited to potentially qualify tonight. I was going to be in the knockout, and they ended up having just enough guys to fit into the regular server. So yeah, I was kind of hoping to qualify. I missed those days.
Well, it's tough to see you out. You're having a great run up there inside of the top 5. Obviously, best of luck here next week to try and gain those points back. But before we let you go, we'll let you do some thank you, sponsors, and shout outs because the hard luck there. We got to give you something.
Yeah, man. I just got to thank my sponsors for being on my truck every week. Old City Fly Shop. I want to thank RTG. I mean, look at the fields we're having now. 40, 45 guys. We're barely fitting in the servers now, so that's always great. We have great races every Thursday night, as I said. So thank you guys, and hope to see a good finish tonight. I'll be watching. So enjoy, guys. Thanks.
Unfortunately, early end for Joe DeSpirito with a mechanical problem tonight, but obviously, best of luck next week and down the rest of this regular season, Joe.
Thanks. See you guys.
Lights out atop the pace truck, so the green flag will come back out on lap 28 of 66. Donnie Garrett going to be the one to lead us back to green over Josh Metallic, Bob Seminara, Jeremy Jeffries, and Doug Woolley. Nate Balser's going to roll off 6th, Tim Nofsker 7th, Chuck McClure, Kelly Causey, Mark Paglia. That's going to be the top 10 we go back green. You saw when we were talking with the Spirito, the 92 Bobby Farrell go around, get the free pass as the lucky dog. So 39 drivers still running, 39 on the lead lap. Calculations, Michael, say that these drivers can make it on one more pit stop. Question is, when would that pit stop potentially be? We'll have to wait and see. Green flag, ready to fly once again here at Dega.
It'll be about 20 laps from now.
Thank you, Mr. Math.
You're welcome.
That would put them, if they did pit 20 laps from now, that would put them at 18 to go. Almost a full fuel run to the finish.
But should be good. Unless you're the leader.
True. Which right now, it's under contest. Donnie Garrett stayed on the inside. Josh Metallic with a big push on the outside. Not quite clear going into turn 3. Both lanes pretty even here through the center of 3 and 4, but one would have to think that outside line's going to prevail off of 4 into the tri-oval.
Well, if the 77 hits the apron like that.
And bumpers were not lined up all that well between Garrett and Seminara through 3 and 4 at all. Big push, though, through the tri-oval. Look at this. I think Donnie might lead this lap. He will by about a foot and a half.
Going through the corner here. He's trying to get a third lane going a little bit deeper in the back.
That's Jerm Lewis up there. Terry Bombard, those two have been working together tonight, trying to get that third lane going. They've also picked up Doug Kulik and Mike Rogers.
There goes the 088 and the 17. Try to get on top of the outside lane, but now they're going to try to go higher, maybe create a fourth lane.
They're going to barely fit up in front of Jerm Lewis. No, they're not. McClure was not clear. We are still 3, almost we're looking for. Like Jerm had to run wide there off of turn 4, so now McClure will be the second truck in that third lane. And let's see with Tim Nofsker leading the charge, if that outside line can make its way to the front. Looks like they're making a little bit of progress there through 1 and 2. 3 wide, that's for 7th place. Roberts on the bottom, Balser in the middle. And look at the run. They're getting down this back straightaway. Jeremy Jeffries jumped up there, and that might have been a really good choice because he might get propelled to the lead. Donnie Garrett, who led the last lap, looking around, and he's now back to 5th, now back to 6th, now back to 7th. They're passing him left and right.
Middle lane kind of definitely falling back here. Bob Seminara is in a good spot here for right now. As they continue, he should be able to lead this lap.
A little treacherous around the latter half of the top 10 and all the way back through the top 20, top 25. 3 rows, about 8, maybe 9 rows deep. One mistake could have catastrophic results as Doug Woolley jumps up. Woo, I'm not sure where he was going. I think he was trying to go to the middle line, slipped up a little too high, almost went to the third lane, and then decided to tuck back in line. He's going to pay the price because Kelly Causey jumps to the inside.
Ooh.
Jeremy Jeffries jumps to the outside.
Now he's going to be all by himself in the sucker hole.
Doug Woolley, former champion of the Tally Challenge, in the sucker hole, heading towards the back. Jerm Lewis was all out of shape there. I think he got a big shove from Terry Bombard off of turn number 4. Nearly halfway home here in race number 3. Seminara out in front for the first time tonight. Kelly Causey now into second. Oh, look at the pinching there for third place between Ken Roberts and Jeremy Jeffries. Ken got the apron there and almost came up into the one off of turn 2. Drivers are not giving an inch. You'd think this was the final lap rather than coming to the halfway point.
Yeah, let's see. Inside lane's a little bit less organized. Outside lane has a little bit more.
One thing I love about random qualifying is you see names that get the draw towards the rear of the field. You look at that and you think, they're not going to be there long. Look at some of these names we've got up inside of our top 10. Chuck McClure, right now, third truck on that outside line, started 37th. Kelly Causey, second truck on the inside line, rolled off 35th. And Brian Schilling in the 4, he's that Square D Dodge, fourth on the outside line. He rolled off from the 38th position. That's 2 spots away from dead last. And he's now up here inside of the top 10.
I'm going to try to keep an eye towards the back of the pack, too, just in case another incident happens.
Looking like on telemetry, most drivers that have been involved in our 2 cautions here tonight, for the most part, are up to speed, still in the lead pack. Bobby Farrell, the only one that has fallen off of the lead pack. Doug Cady looks like he might be losing touch with the lead group
really
back
close there.
Yeah, that pinching is really scaring me, and that's all tactical. It's risky, but it's tactical. You look at those second trucks in line on the inside and the middle line. Kelly Causey's moving up. He's trying to force the 088 to give him room to have a better exit off of 2 and better straightaway speed. The 088's trying to pinch the 00 down, so that way he has to turn the wheel harder and scrub off about a half a mile per hour, giving that middle line the advantage down the back straightaway. It is a risky thing to do, but if it works, it pays off, not just for you, but everybody else in your line in terms of momentum.
And look at the 3 wide about to happen, too. We got Josh Metallic on the very outside. Middle lane doesn't have a lot of drivers right now.
Oh, that might hurt the third lane. Terry Bombard up a little bit there, almost got the wall.
Yeah, the outside lost a little bit of momentum, but they should be able to regroup and gain it all back.
Still side by side for the race lead. Seminara, Jeremy Jeffries, both looking for their first wins on the season. I believe both of them, both looking for their first victory in over a season. I'd have to look back, but I don't believe either one of these drivers went to victory lane in season 58 of the Tally Challenge. Not exactly certain what the exact number of races each driver's winless streak would be. Checking right now, and Jeremy Jeffries did have a win last year. That was race 6 back in the early portion of February. But for Bob Seminara, let's see how far back you have to go to his last win. And that would be, looks like we might be going back to season 56, actually. And indeed, you go back to season 56, race 7. That was June 16th of 2022. We're only about, a month removed from a full year winless streak for the 712. So I think he wants that checkered flag here tonight. Certainly looks like it.
Trying to get going again. Josh Metallic, the outside lane group, has come back. Inside lane has just a little bit more. We'll see if they stay low or go up high. They're approaching a lap car. I can hear them. I believe that would be the 92.
I think you're right, Bobby Farrell. Off the pace, badly damaged. Engine damage from the first caution of the evening. That middle line's losing some numbers. I noticed, yeah, there's still only 3 trucks there. Jeffries, Nofsker, and McClure. Third line's got more trucks, but they don't seem to be able to line up well enough to get the momentum moving forward, and that is good news for the drivers on the inside line. Kelly Causey, flipping back through my notes, I don't think Kelly Causey has ever won a race in RTG. Has he?
Yeah, I thought he's won a couple of races.
To double check on that.
0, right?
Yes.
Didn't he get a win? I'm pretty sure he lucked into a win in the final race. I think in one of the previous seasons. It was either one or 2 seasons ago.
I can remember Kelly Causey making the playoffs. I thought he pointed his way in. I'll have to double check on that. He jumps up to the outside line here. Ken Roberts, his last and I think only victory was back. That was in season 56. Not certain. Oh no!
Well, it's not going to be tonight.
The big one has struck at Dega. Oh, we got one up and over. That's Doug Hewlick.
2 up and over.
Surratt is flipping and barrel rolling out of 2. Well, take a look in that camera shot. There's a lot of them. Jerm Lewis, Jessica Shelton. Oh. Milt Surratt. How that truck's able to drive away, I'm not certain. He did about 5 or 6 barrel rolls there out of turn 2. Mark Paglia, I think in the 28, might have been involved.
I think that was just a bad bump gone wrong.
I was looking down trying to find Ken Roberts' last victory, and actually, good on you, Michael, for calling me out. Kelly Causey is indeed a former winner here in the Tally Challenge. I actually just looked, and he had a victory back in 2022, July of 2022, in season 56.
That was a bad bump gone wrong. The one, Jeremy Jeffries, just kind of bumped the 00 just at the wrong moment in the corner, and it sent him around, and then everybody else got involved afterwards.
Well, this time we do have the footage of the replay.
Oh my gosh, the 23 car. I don't want to make the reference because it's in bad taste, but he went cockpit first into the wall.
That looked like the dreaded bumper grab right there. And
well, I know he's out of the race. Doug Hewlick is out of the race.
Very rare that you end up seeing a violent bumper grab like that in the corner. That looks more like something you would see on a straightaway, so boy.
Well, you can't bump in the corner.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are bumping in the corner.
Well, yeah,
it
could have been it was definitely a hitbox issue, but it was just, it was right at, like, I think it was right towards about almost the center of the corner.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, actually, I think you're right dead center in the center of the corner. Italic, Terry Bombard involved. We see JT Mayhew, Billy Elliser, Greg Palmer. Terry Bombard actually went up and over. I didn't see that. So that's 3 trucks that flipped. Bombard, Hewlick, and Surratt. Some drivers got away with minimal damage. Other drivers did not. Reference Doug Hewlick back in the garage area. It's going to join Joe DeSpirito with a DNF tonight. Kelly Causey still sits on pit road getting repairs done to that machine. He's already fallen a lap down, and he may fall another lap down depending on how long this pit stop is. Bobby Farrell get the lucky dog once again, so he'll be back on the lead lap. Ron Hagelin in the 111 Coca-Cola machine's going to stay out, and it looks like he will lead a lap. Stays out along with Terry Bombard and Tom Dixon. Bob Seminara should be the driver to inherit the race lead when we go back green, which looks like it would be outside of the window of these drivers being able to make it the rest of the way. For them to be able to make it the rest of the way, we would have had to have gone green on lap 45. We'll be completing lap 41 this time by. I think it's very unlikely we're going to run another 4 caution laps. So
these guys might. I know an untimely caution is what the setup pit strategy for the end of this race when they could have made it on one more stop. I mean,
yeah,
I would definitely. I would give up track position. I would wait until the very last lap of this caution to come down pit road.
Interesting. We've seen drivers do that before in the past. So let's stay here with the leaders.
Some stay out, some come in.
You're Chuck McClure, Grant Wesley, you've already got a victory. I think you might be some of the first to try and pull off that strategy, come and pit at the 1 to green. Chuck's in 5th. I believe Grant will be in 9th once they all cross the line. Terry Bombard's going to lead a lap there in his Ford. And he will probably be on pit road next time by. Maybe. Well, one driver that got a pretty good view of that incident got away with relatively little damage. Mentioned the fact that he ended up picking up a super speedway win this past Tuesday night in the RTR Super Speedway Series. Let's see if we can dial up Mark Paglia. Hey Mark, Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's going on?
Well, that was, I think that's the big one, hopefully, of the night, and it was almost right in your lap. You got a pretty good view of all that was going on there off of turn 2. Did you get involved at all? We saw some drivers kind of get some scrapes. Didn't look like the 28 was all that banged up, though.
No, not too much. Just got a little bump here and there. I got on the brakes early, so I've been learning my lessons from last race. I didn't do that last week, but this week I'm getting in front of the accident when I see one. I'm letting down quick, and I'm just worried about people running into me.
Yeah, that's usually one of the big things when it comes to wrecking at super speedways here. How scary was it at first? I mean, that happened directly at the front of the field.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. I did see the initial smoke, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't see anything, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna tool it down as much as I can and cross my fingers that somebody's not going to run me over. But it worked out all right. No damage. New tires.
Well, obviously, we've alluded to the fact that this past week, Tuesday night, you picked up the victory at Burt Screwdriver's Raceway in the RTR Super Speedway Series. So, that runs in correlation each week with the Tally Challenge. What kind of confidence does it give you as a driver to maybe go for the weekend sweep here this week?
Well, I did have a lot of confidence when I was up there in front for a while, but I got caught in the middle there, and I got drifted all the way back here in, 29th place. So I got my work cut out. I got some good drivers around me. Josh is back here with me, so I'm going to hook up with him, and hopefully the two of us can get up front a little bit.
Yeah, we're seeing that middle line, the sucker hole that super speedways middle lines are well known for, kind of be a little bit more prevalent here. And normally we end up seeing the middle line not prevail as much at a track like Burnt Screwdriver's Raceway rather than here. I mean, what's
right.
The difference? Why are we seeing that here today at Dega?
I wish I had a good answer for you, but you're right. As soon as you get caught in that middle lane, the top and the bottom just take off on you, and if you don't have a good group around you, you're in trouble, and that's what happened to me. I hooked up with Tim and Chuck and Brian. We tried to get that lower line going for a while. We just couldn't get that one going either. Just the four of us, but those guys are tough, and I'm just gonna try to stay clean and hopefully have a decent finish.
All right, final question for you, because we know we're getting ready to come to green, but we're crunching the numbers. Looks like you guys are short on fuel, so what's the strat right now?
Well, I turned off my tires. I'm put it down to a half a can, and I'm showing 4 laps short, so we'll see.
Forward to seeing how this strategy plays out. We'll let you get back to it. Best of luck, Mark.
Yep, hey, good luck.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for pulling me in. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. But 4 laps short there, Michael. Now, here's the thing, though, that we have to remember. We keep talking about it every single time we get into these scenarios. These drivers may not be necessarily racing to the checkered flag. The point of no return usually around 4 laps to go. So if you're 4 laps short of making it to the finish, let's say a caution comes out on lap 62, do you have enough fumes in the car to pace around?
No. I mean, maybe in real life, but here in NR, no. The answer is
Oh, boy.
absolutely no.
Unless your name is Grant Wesley.
Well, I don't know. Seth, I don't even think you could clutch it around 4 laps under caution.
I can't clutch to save my life. I had back-to-back weeks in my Tuesday night series where I ran out of fuel on the final lap halfway through the final lap, so don't ask me to clutch.
We've got 22 laps to go. I was told that they're roughly at about a can when it comes to their fuel. When it tells you how much you got to put in. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, we ended up hearing from Mark Pagley. He's already got himself prepared for that final pit stop when and if it happens. Now, of course, if a caution comes out, I think we're going to see everybody dive onto pit road.
Seminara able to get up right to the middle lane there.
Top 5 get themselves single-filed out. Donnie Garrett now alongside, is that Richard Martin in the 43? It is. Remember Richard Martin? He was involved right in the center of the first caution of the night, kind of nosed into the outside wall. But that John Deere Chevrolet, it's up to speed and it's still competitive.
Yep, and he's got the 88 right behind him, who I haven't seen having his warping issues.
Yep, had to drop to the back. I think that was after the second caution. Grant Wesley back up here. And Doug Woolley, who we saw get stuck in the sucker hole and kind of fade to the back. He's back up here inside of the top 10 as well. Good runs right here. Some good comeback runs for some drivers that had some adversity in the early going. And how about this up here at the front? JT Mayhew, how can you miss the Chips Ahoy car with Cookie Monster on the back? But he's just kind of steadily worked his way up and now in the podium right behind Rodney Sullins. First time we've mentioned him tonight up in the top 3.
Yep, running good so far. I'm sure he just wants to kind of stay there and ride. You can attempt to save a little bit of gas as long as you're not the race leader, so you don't use up as much fuel. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure if the half can strategy call would be enough though. If they're 4 laps short and it was telling them a full can, then I don't know. I don't know if half a can would be enough.
Well, if you kind of do the math about let's
come on,
round
you know
it
I'm not
to
good
20.
At that.
Let's round it to 20 laps. You can make it
right
on
now,
a tank of
20
fuel.
laps to go right
so
now.
you take a half a can. That would be a quarter of 20 laps, which is 5 laps. If you're doing it at 4 to go, you should have enough to get to the checkers.
And that's why you're better at math than I am.
It's simple math. That's all it is.
Someone in the back almost got turned coming down to the inside. I'm not sure who that was. Could have been the 39. Somebody cut down in front of the bottom lane and almost got spun.
Like everything's good there. They're all single file up amongst the top, what is this, 16, 17, 18? We might be back through the top 20. Here's the first side-by-side battle. Mark Pagley, who we just talked with, he and Doug Hewlick side by side. This is around, it looks like scoring saying the 18th position. Wiley Coate, Jessica Shelton, Ron Hagelin in the middle of all this as well. We've had a number of drivers out in front here tonight. Most laps led 22 by our pole sitter Jeremy Jeffries, who is all the way back in the 28th position right now. I believe, Michael, he was one of the drivers that went with your strategy, came down pit road, topped off the fuel at the 1 to green, so something to keep an eye on there. 10 laps led so far by Bob Seminara. That's second most on the board. Tim Nofsker is about to lead his 5th lap out in front. 3 laps led for Josh Metallic, and then 1 lap led apiece for Donnie Garrett, Grant Wesley, Ron Hagelin, Robbie Nisus, Brian Ronson, Terry Bombard, and Kelly Causey. Update on Kelly Causey. We saw him sitting on pit road for a number of laps. They pushed his machine back behind the wall. He will join Doug Hewlick and Joe DeSpirito, leaving us with 37 drivers running. All 37 on the lead lap, but it looks like Bobby Farrell, not the only driver off the pace. Terry Bombard appears that he has also lost the lead pack, and we saw him go for a flip off of turn 2. So aero damage, roof damage, engine damage, some damage has hindered his Ford.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very shame.
Looking right now at what the point standings could look like, and there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking, I think, even inside of the top 10. Kelly Causey came into this race only 1 point behind Brian Schilling for the overall points lead. He was second in points, and as we already documented, a DNF. One driver that is missing in the field tonight, Dante Ricky. He was 8th in the point standings coming into this one, so that's a couple of drivers that are going to free fall, I would believe, through the points. A couple of drivers, if you're looking at that could kind of rise up through the rankings. The race leader, Tim Nofsker, lost 5 spots last week, dropped to 11th in points. Right now, he is out in front, might have a shot of getting back maybe inside of the top 5 in overall standings. And another driver that I would keep an eye on once the final results are in and the points are calculated is that 712 of Bob Seminara. Did not get the start to the season that he wanted, but last week jumped up 11 spots in points to 20th, and with the points as close as they are, if he can finish out the evening with a top 5, might be up inside the top 10 heading into next week at Burt Screwdrivers Raceway.
Absolutely, and as these laps tick down, Seth, it's going to be more and more on looking at your fuel. When do you see these cars ducking in? Do you think they'll duck in if you can get a group together, do you think they'll duck in a little early, or do you think they'll wait till the last possible second?
I think you'd have to wait till the last possible second for 2 reasons. Number 1, the longer you wait, the less amount of fuel you have to take on. Number 2, if that first group comes to pit road and they wreck, then maybe you can either come to pit road and gain or maintain track position, or potentially, we'll just throw the possibility out there, you might be able to clutch enough under pacing to be able to make it the rest of the way. But
yeah, but
again, a lot of question marks there.
That's the question. Also, is do you trust that?
Yeah,
me as a driver, I would much prefer to come in, even if I were to get like you said, like a half can or a splash, just something to give me that little extra lap or so.
You're wondering why we're focused on the 25th place truck. I wanted to just at least take 1 lap around centered on Jeremy Jeffries because, as mentioned, he came to pit road at the 1 to green. I wanted to see if he was throwing in the clutch at any point. It doesn't look like that is the case. So he is not fuel saving right now. And he, along with a couple of other drivers, I think there was about half dozen drivers that came to pit road and topped off at the 1 to green. That would be a little bit better, not much, but a little bit better on fuel than most of these drivers up here at the front. But I think no matter what way you slice it, even if you were clutching under this run, I think everybody is going to have to be back on pit road in some way, shape, or form before the conclusion of this race. How about this? Second line starting to form here. Not in ride mode is Brian Schilling, and Brian Schilling, he had a shot at maybe picking up a victory back in the season opener, going toe-to-toe with Chuck McClure, but heard him say didn't want to wreck his truck, didn't want to throw away a second-place finish and end up maybe outside the top 15, top 20. Big picture racing for Brian Schilling, and that is why he comes into tonight as your overall points leader.
Getting close to the final 10 laps, Seth, and that's going to be crunch time. That's when you want to start positioning yourself good, but like Brian Schilling is on that, forming up that outside lane, do you want the clean air? Because the minute you get the clean air, the more fuel you start wasting.
That's the big question, right? And as soon as you bring up that question, he dives back down in line. So I think they tested the waters there, but nothing doing. I guess the only advantage there would be is maybe you can advance a position or 2, catch somebody out, and tuck back in line to kind of further your positioning for that potential upcoming green flag pit stop. We hear drivers talk about positioning for the pits. That extra 1 or 2 positions you gain on the racetrack could translate to 3, 4, 5 positions gained once everything cycles around when the pit stops are complete.
Down the back straightaway, this long snaking line, so you got to think that Nofsker's using the most fuel out of everybody here. But if you had to guess, out of this line of cars, who's the one that has the benefit of using the least amount of fuel?
Least amount of fuel, probably Chuck McClure. I would think maybe that the fourth truck in line, maybe the fifth truck in line, Bob Seminara, although I have seen the gap open up between Seminara and Chuck McClure. So Seminara uses a little bit more fuel trying to draft back up to the 17. 17 has been able to stay pretty close there to JT Mayhew's 338. So I think, at least from what I'm seeing right now, 17, maybe the 38 as well of Rodney Sullins, because he's stayed pretty close to the back bumper of Tim Nofsker. But the other thing here, too, is we don't know necessarily what the differential is as to who can make it as far as another. There could be everybody having to come to pit road on the same lap. There could be maybe one group has to pit a lap sooner than the second group. The alliances have got to be starting to form right now. The communication has got to be taking place, especially if you're planning on pitting with Tim Nofsker. He's going to be the Pied Piper of any of his allies when they're coming to pit road because of him using up the most fuel. So you've got to think, if Nofsker's coming in, does Rodney Sullins come in? Does JT Mayhew come in? Does Chuck McClure come in? Or do they maybe stay out an extra lap since they would have had a little bit more fuel being in the 088's draft?
And another question also. Do they hot pit or play it safe?
Ooh, good question.
Oh, look at everybody move down to the inside lane here.
Ooh, are we maybe coming to pit road? I just saw something light up there. I don't know if it was an indication to pit road or not.
The 7 car is talking about pitting, but I don't know when that was placed.
Harry Bombard, Bobby Farrell, they're going to stay up high and let the leaders on by.
No, I think they were just coming down.
I
think they were just coming down low to avoid the lap cars.
Nope, look at this. You talked about the 7, Cy Jones. He's on pit lane. Ron Hagelin, Brian Ronson. Some of the first ones to dive onto the pit lane. Also Tom Dixon in the 45. Not a big group here on pit road, but see if pitting early might be the strat.
Yeah, I think that
there
was
in the 80. I think he just had been on pit road moments ago as well.
I believe that was most of the damaged cars as well.
About, what, maybe 2 more laps max that these drivers could make before they'd have to come to pit road. Maybe 3 if you're lucky. And bear in mind, you talked about, do you hot pit or do you play it safe? We've seen it before. There's no guarantee that if there is contact, if there's a spin, if there's a... Oh, speaking of a wreck, Josh Metallic just hit the wall hard back there. Caution's out. That is the yellow that I think the entire field was hoping for. And it came at the expense of Metallic, and they're still wrecking up in turn 1. Jerm Lewis and Jessica Shelton are around.
I don't see what happened there. Now the question is, do you clutch? That was all.
I think you pit, especially if you're at the back. You pit. If you're at the front, I don't know. We will go back. We will look at replays.
Oh, Jessica just got the tail end of the 5 car spinning. She had it saved, and then the 616 just came flying in there and finished her off the second time.
That would be Wiley Code, and actually we are watching this race back here to the start-finish line. Whoa! That chain bump at the end was a little scary.
That was a bad bump with the one of Jeremy Jeffries.
Go back and look at that in a minute here. We're going to stay with the leaders, see if they will throw in the clutch or if they will come to pit road and top off. Nofsker won the battle back to pit lane, or back to the start-finish line, rather. JT Mayhew, Rodney Sullins, Chuck McClure, Bob Seminara. That was the top 5, but that was a little nerve-wracking 3-way bump there at the start-finish line between Nofsker, Sullins, and Seminara. If that had just been slightly off-center, we might have had the leader wrecking going into 1. And it looks like, ooh, think about this, Michael. If these drivers do have to come to pit road, if they can't clutch it the rest of the way, this is a huge 1,000 IQ play by drivers like Cy Jones and Brian Ronson, who came to pit road before the caution came out. They're good on fuel. When these drivers pit, they'd get to stay out and think of all the track position they'd gain.
Absolutely.
Like Nofsker might be indicating he's coming to pit road. Does anyone risk it? Nope, doesn't look like it. Looks like they're all coming down. Just a splash, I think, is all they'll need. Half can at the most. We'll now look back and see what brought out the caution. Tough break for Josh Metallic, who was having a good run going. Ooh, Chuck McClure actually just went through the grass there in pit road. We got a spin further back. Wiley Coate just got spun by Jeff Crivello, so pit road proving to be just as treacherous as the racetrack itself. Focus back on the Geico Chevrolet, the Tony Kanaan livery of Josh Metallic, who took a pretty good shot there into the outside wall and went for a wild spin. Here it is.
See, the one of Jeremy Jeffries stayed out. I think he was one of the only ones to stay out, other than Cy
I think
Jones.
Probably he took the penalty for causing the caution, and he'll have to pit the second time by. You talked about the 5 of Wiley Coate. You saw him right there get clipped in the right rear quarter panel, and that's what sent him spinning further up there into turn 1, which we'll look at right now.
Now the question is, Cy Jones, one of the few cars that came down, I think that was still on the lead lap.
Brian Ronson as well.
He's going to be the leader. How long do you think they can stay out there before, can they defend it for these final couple of laps?
I have to see. Boy, Shelton caught some air. Went around. She also made some contact with Bernie Mobbs in the 31.
Yeah, and if you watch it, you see that she does a quick spin, almost kind of flips, but does a 360, catches it, throws it in gear, but then the 616 out of nowhere finishes her off.
At this point, the field had not taken the caution, so they were still racing back. And there's the shot right there. Then Wiley Coate comes in, and he's trying to squeeze up right between Shelton and the wall. Shelton gets the truck turned around, continues on. That is only the 3rd caution of the evening as well. Hopefully, the last caution. We'll have to wait and see. I think we are going to get ourselves a restart before all is said and done, as got some of the lap cars coming onto pit road, as well as the one of Jeremy Jeffries, and as we suspected, Cy Jones is not going to be the leader. Ron Hagelin, I believe, is going to be the race leader. No, he is not. Oh, okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so Cy Jones is the leader. Ron Hagelin is on the tail end of the lead lap, but when the caution came out, he had to line up behind the pace car. So right now, Hagelin and Dixon, they are in 33rd and 34th on the tail end of the lead lap. I wonder, I would assume when the lights go out, they could take the wave around, because I don't think they pit on this caution period, and they are ahead of race leader Cy Jones. So we'll wait and see about that. I believe Milt Surratt and Bobby Farrell were the first 2 trucks 1 lap down, so they will get the free passes and be back on the lead lap. Terry Bombard will be the lone driver, still -1. 36 drivers of the 37 running will be on the lead lap when we go back green.
Now the question is, as we said before, can the 7 and the 21 defend their positions? Do you think, does the 21 maybe try to let Cy Jones up on the middle lane, or do you think it's going to be every man for himself on this restart, which will come with, should be, about 4 laps to go?
Yeah, I would think.
No, it'll be 3 laps
3
to go. It'll be 3 to go, because they're at 5 to go right now.
Now, the interesting thing here is we haven't seen either Cy Jones or Brian Ronson up in this situation very often, up on the front row late in a race to have to defend on a restart. So it will be interesting to see if they've got the skills to be able to keep the rest of the field at bay. Bob Seminara is going to be on the inside line of row 2 in 3rd. Tim Nofsker is going to be on the outside in 4th. JT Mayhew up here in 5th place. Donnie Garrett in 6th. And Richard Martin, Grant Wesley, Chuck McClure, and Rodney Sullins is going to be the top 10. It's interesting, if you take Grant Wesley and Chuck McClure out of the equation, our 2 former winners from this season. Remember, I mentioned the fact that we've had 2 races and 2 former champions go to victory lane. If the streak is going to continue with a different driver, highest of those would be the 712 of Bob Seminara who's going to be third on this restart. So we'll see. We've also seen some Cinderella stories in the past, and Brian Ronson, Cy Jones, they would love for it to be them. JT Mayhew, I believe, is looking for his first career win as well, and he's been up inside the top 5 the entirety of the second half of this race. Well, we know the next flag's going to end the race, so we'll give the disclaimer right here and now. If a caution comes out before these leaders take the white flag, we will stay with the battle back to the start-finish line, since it is technically the racing back to the proverbial checkered flag. And we'll go back and we'll look at any necessary replays, either during the closing pacing laps or maybe post-race.
88 car just had a bit of a blinking fit right there for a couple seconds. Seems to be okay now, but it's going to be within a couple laps to go.
No, these drivers can all make it on fuel, so the chips are on the table. You got what you got.
Seth's going to make it a reference to that when we just played poker the other night, and he lost all of his chips on the table.
I did. However, you failed to mention who I managed to stay at the table longer than.
It don't matter. You still lost all your chips. Cy Jones electing to take the outside lane.
Too. Yeah, that is interesting. So he's going to pick up Tim Nofsker as his drafting partner. And this might be strategy in wanting that middle line by the time they come off of turn 2. But I've observed, and I've actually experienced as well, the inside line seems to get a much better run on a restart lap through 1 and 2 than the middle line. So we'll see if this is the right call.
088's not even tucked in the back bumper of the 7 car either.
Might be trying to time the start for giving a bump once the green flag drops. We'll see.
The 88's still blinking back there.
Well, it's point no return now. It doesn't matter if you've got a blink or not. You're in it to win it.
Oh, there we go. There's
big shoves.
There's a couple shoves right there.
And Cy Jones got the better shove. He's clear for the race lead.
I think Nofsker was hoping he'd get clear so he could duck to the inside, but we'll see what happens now.
But I don't think he's got the momentum.
Oh, they're already going 3 wide back there.
Caution! Caution's out! This is racing back to the checkers. Cy Jones, does he move low? He didn't. He didn't throw the block. Nofsker is going to get pushed to the lead.
Big wreck in the turn there. We'll get back to that in a minute.
Oh, Grant almost got into Cy Jones. Nofsker trying to pick up the victory for the first time this season. Same for Donnie Garrett. Does Garrett make a move on Nofsker? He's looking.
Got to. He's got to. There he goes.
Grant's going to go up there with him. Do they have enough momentum to the tri-oval? It's going to be close, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Nope, Nofsker got it.
Half a car length, about a little less than a truck length there. Tim Nofsker going to take the caution with 2 to go. And Tim Nofsker, I believe, has won this race. We'll go back. We'll have the pacing laps to be able to go back and see who all was involved here in the 4th and final caution of the night.
People just... Oh, it was a wreck. It was a further up to 011. I thought it was Mike Rogers. I thought it was early on. It's just, oh, he tried to get up to the outside. He just wasn't clear. He got hooked right up into the wall. A couple cars flipped. The 007 flipped. I saw the 80 car upside down.
Can't find the 011 because he's actually already gone back to the garage. If we can find incident here. It was over in turns 1 and 2. Jason Scheck that he tries to tuck up in front of. Milt Surratt, Bob Dixon, Doug Cady, Ron Hagel, and Wiley Coates. Ooh, Robbie Nisus. How he avoided all that. My goodness. Jerm Lewis got involved. Like Milt Surratt took another hit there on the right side of the screen. Not sure who that was from. Might have been from Doug Cady. Another driver that had a great miss was Josh Metallic. We'll get some onboards with both the 39 and the 54 in just a moment. Let's get another angle of the contact here. Boy, that 011 up on 2 wheels. Bobby Farrell further back got a piece. Wow, look right there. That was Terry Bombard further up. how Robbie Nisus was able to not make any contact, but truck spinning all around him. That was a, I think you should go out and buy a lottery ticket after all this, I think.
For
Go
real,
on board.
right?
Let's go on board with him. Watch how close this is, folks. There's the initial contact. Truck spinning high, truck spinning low. Now watch right here. Mike Rogers' car. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Don't think you could have fit a sheet of paper between both of those trucks. Josh Metallic, who was involved in the last caution, he picks up quite a number of valuable positions. He was 26th when they crossed the start finish line, and looks like he is 22nd now. Here's a look at what he saw. There's the wreck. Dives it low to the apron. And very handily avoids it. Tim Knopfsker, I believe, has received the white flag. Knopfsker led 18 laps, about to be 19 laps here this evening. He's about to pick up his first checkered flag of the season. Remember, Knopfsker last year did not make it into the playoffs. Matter of fact, I believe that Knopfsker didn't have a win last season. I'll double check on that.
Triple check on that.
I will double, triple my check on that. No, he did not have a win last year, so this snaps a winless streak for him.
Coming to the checkered flag right now.
October 13th, 2022 was the last time Knopfsker went to victory lane. And he finds victory lane once again, this time for the first time this season, season 59.
Oh, and he gets wrecked for his trouble.
There's always one. There's always one.
Well, there was like 3 people wrecking.
Well, no, I mean, there's always one hello, Brian. There's always one driver that always seems to give the wrong angle of a congratulatory bump and spin the winner out.
Now the 4 cars pushing him.
I ain't pushed. He's giving a little bump draft. Well, Tim Knopfsker came into this race, I believe in 11th. Yes, 11th in the point standings. This will shoot him up into the top 10, maybe even the top 5. He was only 25 points out of the points lead. And he now joins Chuck McClure and Grant Wesley, locked into a playoff position, provided he remains in the top 20 in points. Gonna bring it around here. Around this 2.6 mile super speedway, back to the start finish line, and get to do some burnouts for the first time in the Tally Challenge since October of last year. And we talked to Tim during the course of the end of last season, the beginning of this season, and it really irked him that he did not advance into the playoffs. Definitely coming in with some fire tonight. Was not going to be denied that trip to victory lane. Soon as he saw the caution out, made the move to the inside there on Cy Jones, got the push from Donnie Garrett, and was able to hold him off. And you know, Donnie might have had something for him, but we had another scenario just like this. I believe it was the race 2 weeks ago, where it's so difficult to be able to make a pass, especially for the win, when the caution comes out on the same lap as you just restarted. The trucks are not up to full song. The momentum is just not there. And I think Tim Knopfsker is trying to rival Kyle Larson for the longest burnout. He's trying to do the entire tri-oval. We thought fuel was a concern. I think tire rubber's a concern.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, he almost kept it going. Look at that tire tread. Look at those tires. Look at that tire trail. Gonna throw it back in neutral and try again. Nope. Looks like he's gonna be bringing it back to victory lane this time. Up a little extra flourish of a burnout there. That's the burnout of a man that's had to wait about 7 months to get back to victory lane here in the Tally Challenge. Take a look at the finishing results. Oscar with the win. Donnie Garrett bringing it home in second. Another good run there for the 77 car. Grant Wesley, third place, following up his victory last week. Bob Seminara, solid top 5 and fourth. And JT Mayhew, I believe that is his best finish so far this season. His best finish prior was last week, which was 6th. He's got a 13th, 6th, and 5th. JT came into this race 7th in overall points. What a great start to the year for him. Cy Jones, man, he almost was able to pick up that victory. Couldn't quite hold him off. But that caution at the end of this race really helped him out to be able to bring it home in 6th. Great job by him. Chuck McClure in 7th. Rodney Sullins in 8th. Dave Melson. Did we mention Dave Melson at all tonight? He pops up into the top 10 late, and Jeff Crivello gets the final spot in the top 10. Doug Woolley there in 11th. Craig Hagley, I don't think we talked much about him outside of mentioning that he started dead last, shotgun on the field. He gets 12th place. Bernie Mobbs in 13th. Chris Emery 14th. Greg Palmer there in 15th. Jeremy Jeffries, pole sitter, led the most laps here tonight, but he finishes in 16th place. Jessica Shelton in 17th. Bob Dixon, Nate Balser, and Billy Ellis are going to complete the top 20. Pretty much the top 20 were the drivers that were ahead of that last caution. Everybody else was either involved or had to scatter their way through in an effort to avoid 4 drivers off the lead lap. Brian Ronson in the 21 was one of those drivers. Not sure what exactly happened to him, because remember, Brian was actually on the outside of the, or on the inside rather, of the front row on that last restart, so not sure all what happened with him. And then 5 drivers out of the race: Jason Scheck, Mike Rogers, Kelly Causey, Doug Hewlick, Joe DeSpirito. Causey going to take a big hit in the point standings. He was second in the overall standings coming into tonight, and Joe DeSpirito, who was outside of the top 25 in overall points. I heard him say if we'd had knockout Q, he would have had to qualify his way in to the field tonight in those knockout qualifying event. He finishes 40th with a mechanical problem. So there's a lot of stories here completing the first third of the regular season in preparation for not quite the home stretch, but getting to the midway point of the regular season. What do you say we dial up some drivers and talk to our podium finishers, Michael?
Absolutely.
See if we could start with last week's winner, third place tonight, Grant Wesley. Hey, Grant, Michael, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Following up last week's victory, third place here tonight, but those connection problems, I don't know exactly what's all going on. I guess it's a kind of a good thing, though, because, he had him last week, he had him this week, and back-to-back podiums.
Yeah. Oh man, that every sim racer, that's he always prays the connection gods, and mine's been good. It's always been good, but just here lately, it's kind of went to crap. I've just been working so much. I just really haven't had much time to, call my provider and get that sorted out. But I'm gonna make it a priority for next week, because tonight, yeah, you guys see me blinking quite a bit, so I just rode in the back. That's all I could do. I went to the back 3 times voluntarily. And then lap 39, there was a big wreck. I think Kelly may have blew up leading. Sucks for him. And I missed everybody, went all the way down to the very bottom coming off of 2, and the 26 truck just came down, and there's nowhere I could go. And he tagged my door, and I spun out, backed her into the inside wall. So got some rear end damage there, and but damaged trucks from that. So that was a blessing. And yeah, just complete luck. I mean, to get a podium out of this, I am thrilled for sure.
Yeah, up, down, all race. We knew we couldn't count you out once we were told that you're in the back because of the blinking thing. I told Seth, I said, I don't know how long he'll stay there, but he's there for right now.
Yeah, and it's always a lot of fun back there. I don't mind starting towards the back sometimes. It just, kind of gives you that drive to get to the front, and it's fun, working through the traffic sometimes.
Now, what about the? Sorry, Seth.
Okay.
What about the? How was it getting through that wreck to happen right at the start? How scary was that? Right
Oh
at the front.
gosh, yeah, uh, that was very. Those are the things that you through it.
So we were talking earlier before we ended up going back green on that. Well, it was the next to last final restart, right around the 20 to go mark for you guys. We were talking with Mark Pagley. He said most of you guys were running about 4 laps short to the finish. Did you have a number in your head of when you were coming to pit road if the caution had not come out?
So yeah, I was sitting there. I was about that strategy quite a bit. I think I wanted to be the group down pit road. I was gonna take, and I was gonna be about 4 lap work. I knew on that run I didn't want to abuse the fuel tank. I didn't want to run the third lane and burn a bunch of extra fuel and put me in a questionable situation. Yeah, that's pretty good. I was sitting about 4 laps short, and I was going to do half a can and be in the first group coming down.
Well, Grant, another great run for you here tonight. You're going to continue to move up there in the point standings as well. You came into this race third in points, 5 points back. It looks like, based off of where Schilling finished and Causey out of the race, I think you're going to be our points leader heading into next week. So, congratulations on that. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, just absolutely thrilled to be the points leader going into the next event. It's the preseason championship. Grab those bonus. Um, I'd like to congratulate Ben and Donnie. Man, they had a close finish there. I Donnie there for a little bit, and then I dropped down. Didn't want to make either one of them mad at me, so I couldn't pick. But anyway, congratulations to Tim on the win. I'd like to thank the owners here, Sean Prime, David, the admin, Wiley, and Tim. You guys, Flatout Racing Network, and Seth, for what you do. I'd like to thank my teammates, but just all the people to come out, making these fields so huge. It's a blast racing with everybody. And last but not least, my girlfriend, Brittany.
That's Grant Wesley, third place here tonight at Talladega. He'll take his momentum into next week, the track that he went to victory lane at 1 week ago, back at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the good run. Best of luck next week.
Yep, thanks.
Let's see if we can now get Donnie Garrett, the driver that really needed a good run here tonight. Donnie, Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I got you guys.
All right, so missed the season opener, didn't get the run you were looking for last week. How important was this second place run, this podium run, to get this 77 back on track in preparation for the playoffs?
Man, it's about 2 foot short, and man, just needed Grant to stay with me a little longer. Man, he dumped me and went back down to the bottom. I don't know why, but yeah, a lot better than being in the infield care center last week and getting fluids after that wreck I was in, because that was a big one. Running second last week, at the couple to go or one to go actually, and so I was in the same position tonight. And boy, I'd like to have that last week's back, because I think I could have been somewhere with it, but I think that one's going to hurt me. But we're going to keep charging, man. Try to get a win. The old 77 Astro Glide Chevy is on point, and we're going to see what we can do with it the rest of the season.
Yeah, it seems you were running pretty good up there. You can't always be at the front always, can't always be at the back always, because you're not there. You're not there for very long. What type of strategy do you have? I mean, that second to last caution, you guys had to make a pit stop right before the end. You guys are roughly about 4 laps short there. So what was the plan before that caution came out?
Well, I was going crazy because my damn computer kept putting me back to 1 can, and I was trying to do a half a can. And then I was like, man, maybe I should take a splash and maybe pray for the caution. You got to do something crazy, right now, and try to get a win. And so I got it stuck. Finally got it on that half a can, and then that caution come out, and went in, took a half a can, and to come back out, I had plenty. Had plenty at that point. I almost took a splash on that, but I'd rather just, if I had finished good last week and been here the first week, I'd have probably rolled the dice on that and just see what happened. But I've got to have, I got to have top 5, top 10s right now, and just trying to solidify myself back in this top 20. And that's the first goal, is get to the top 20, and then try to, get to that top 10, 12, whatever that number is. And it's gonna be rough, but I think, if I can do it, I can.
So that final caution, not the one that ended the race, but the caution that was right around when you guys were going to have to think about making that final pit stop under green, it ended up putting a couple of drivers strategy-wise up there on the front row that we're not normally used to seeing, especially late in the race. Cy Jones in the 7 and Brian Ronson in the 21. We saw you, Tim Nofsker, Grant Wesley up there at the front pretty much the entirety of the day. So how nervous were you that maybe that front row wasn't going to get going, if you'd be able to slice through them in time to be able to be out in front, or at least in the conversation for the win if we got a caution, or near the end of the race with maybe the white flag coming out?
Yeah, it makes you nervous when guys that aren't normally up there are up there, especially leading 1 and 2. Both guys great racers, but they've really not been in that position a lot. So yeah, it definitely makes you nervous. What are they going to do? And but we handled it well. I don't know. I know the 21 disappeared behind me somewhere, and I don't know what all happened. I have to go back and look at it. But my deal was just to stay locked on Tim and just push him out there as far as I could, and that's what we did. And like I said, then that caution come out, and just didn't, just a couple foot short, and maybe we can find that couple feet next week.
Well, Donnie, you get some style points because the 77 car finished 0.077 seconds from the race win. So it's kind of interesting number
That is
there.
interesting.
That's very interesting. But man, a great run for you here tonight. Hopefully we see this get you back on track in preparation to, if not win your way, point your way into the playoffs. We got that one extra regular season race that you guys didn't have last year. So hopefully that helps out as well. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout outs.
Well, I want to thank you guys, and thank the owners all here at RTG, and thank Ultimate Garage Floors, my company, and for sponsoring this thing and getting you guys in here. And it's a pleasure to do it. And the old Astroglide truck's running really good, and hopefully we can get a win. And then try to find our way in the top 20. Just those little baby steps. But thank everybody. Thank all these racers out here, man. Some great racers out here, and we'll see you boys next week.
That's Donnie Garrett, the Nature Boy, brings it home runner-up here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway.
Woo!
And let's see if we can go down to victory lane and dial up tonight's race winner, Tim Nofsker. Tim, Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, guys, how's it going?
Well, we've talked about this quite a bit. Last year, beginning of this year, just haven't seen that 088 in victory lane. Got to go all the way back to October of last year. I think it was easy to tell by the length of the burnout just how long you've been waiting for this one, but what a load off your shoulders it must be.
Yeah, it really is. Last season was dismal at best. Just got caught up in a lot of stuff, and just never could dig out of the hole that I got into at the beginning of the season. So yeah, we're doing better this season so far. I've been up front. Was contending for a win last week when I got caught up in a mess. So with the win under my belt, that kind of makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it was a great race out there. Right there at the very end, saw a couple incidents happen. How were you able to stay in front of them like that?
Well, that was, I drew a 30th starting spot, and I was able to work with Chuck and Brian. I think Ken Roberts was up there at one point, and Kelly Causey, and just using the guys that I know are fast and working my way up. When I got inside the top 10, it's a lot easier to stay in front of the trouble.
Now, obviously, there could be a lot of speculation that takes place in super speedway racing, and when a caution comes out, that's all out the window. But I kind of want to just go back in case we didn't have a yellow come out there where you guys were able to pit and make it on fuel. We heard the numbers, just about everybody was going to have to pit before the conclusion. You were the leader on that final run, so we knew you were using up the most fuel. Was there communication? Do you have a big group of drivers that were going to come down pit road with you when you eventually would have had to make that pit stop? Or do you think that there might have been a scenario where you might have been caught out having to pit a lap sooner than most everybody else?
That's a great question. I was really more in trouble because I needed a can of fuel where everyone else had worked it down to a half. We were right on that borderline of a half to a can. So I was probably going to be in trouble if we had green flag pit stops. I'm not sure where I would have ended up.
That caution certainly saving you and giving you the opportunity to be able to battle in the closing stages, pick up that checkered flag. Well done. Before we let you get back to your celebrating, we're going to hand the mic over to you for some victory lane thank you sponsors and shout outs.
I'd like to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast. As always, thank Bones and Prime RTG owners, Josh and Wiley. We admin together on Thursday, and it's a handful when you get full fields. And if you've done any adminning, you know what I'm talking about. I'd like to give a shout out to Chuck McClure, Brian Schilling, and Mark Paglia. They kind of helped me out throughout the race. They didn't have a great finish, but I know that they'll be back in contention next week. And I'd like to give a shout out to Brian Rawson. He's a guy that I raced with way back in the day. We're talking 06, 07 in that era. And he had a great finish tonight. He's fast, and he'll definitely be a contender before long, I have a feeling. And one more shout out to my daughter, Lexi, and her family for watching, and the grandkids. Love them all.
That's Tim Nofsker. He brings it home with the victory here tonight. We'll be seeing him go playoff racing in about 7 weeks' time. Congratulations. I know you're going to be obviously keeping your eye on where you're going to be seated in the bracket series coming up in a few weeks as well. So best of luck in that also.
All righty. Thanks, guys.
Tim Nofsker, your winner here tonight at Talladega. He joins Chuck McClure and Grant Wesley as your race winners so far this season, locking up playoff spots via victory. Just want to do a little bit of house cleaning. I looked back, was a little bit curious. Remember I mentioned that the 21 of Brian Ronson, that he was up there at the front. We saw him one lap down, finishing in 30 seconds. Even heard Donnie Garrett comment on it. He actually finished 4th place here tonight. I'm not certain if there was something potentially on the restart, but somewhere along the line, the 21 car got a black flag. Apparently, it didn't get cleared before the race was completed because the car, or this case truck, was under penalty. It was docked 1 lap in the post-race results. So I do believe Brian Ronson is going to get credited for 4th place, even though that's not what it showed on the official results. So that is actually best finish for Brian Ronson in his Tally Challenge career. So well done to him. He and Cy Jones were the 2 drivers, the beneficiaries of that track position, and really good runs here tonight with the timing of that caution after they had been to pit road.
Absolutely agreed.
So, Michael, we had the streak of 2 races, 2 former champions going to victory lane. Nofsker is the spanner in the works. Not a champion in this series. He's a champion in some of the other RTG series, but I mean, certainly you got to put him in the conversation to maybe be a contender for his first championship this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He'll be one. He's Nofsker's good enough. He will win a championship soon, and this season could be his season.
Now next week we head back to Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Be interesting to see if maybe we go 4 for 4. I remember there was a season, I think it was season 57, if I recall correctly, where we had 10 regular season races and 10 different drivers went to victory lane. Well, we're 3 for 3 so far. We'll see if we go 4 for 4 next Thursday night. We'll be under the lights at BSR. Hope you guys will join us with the green flag flying at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Michael, another thrilling finish here at Talladega. came down to a bit of a nail biter on whether it was going to be fuel, whether it was going to be the fireworks of a late race restart. We ended up getting the latter, and it did not disappoint. I appreciate you joining me in the booth.
Absolutely. It's always fun to be here. Can't wait.
Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage here tonight. Apologies for the hiccup in the middle of the race, but hopefully it didn't disrupt things too badly. And we'll see you guys next week here for the continuation of the regular season, season 59 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. For Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope